because which brings us to what's happening, everyone. My name is Adrian and welcome back to What the Pun. So living in the UK, it's not been great recently. Weather's been a bit wet, so that doesn't stop us, because today I'll be trying to do some tasks in the garage, hopefully some simple tasks, which would also possibly be the last bits I do myself before I leave the Golf R with someone else to start the next big parts of Project OEM Plus for the Golf R. So, to start off with today, let's go over some of the items. First thing that I have is this, the OSRAM LED Dynamic Mirror Indicators. Bit inspired by some friends that I have that have Mark 7 Golf GTIs that changed their lights to the dynamic lights as well, which look pretty cool, and I'm hoping would do the same for my Mark 6 Golf R as well. Other item is this, the SuperPro Dogbone mount bushing, also known as the lower torque arm bushing. Yeah, but I think most people call it like the Dogbone mount bushing. So I'll be giving these two items, attempting to put these two items onto the Golf R today, and we'll go through it step by step. So let's get started, shall we? To start off with, I'll be changing the mirror indicators first, and just to quickly explain as to why I went with the OSRAM option as opposed to any other cheaper light option, mainly because with OSRAM with the OSRAM kit you do get what you pay for. So you do, in the box, you do get very detailed instructions on how to put this all together. Unlike some other ones, they'll just point you towards YouTube, or you might have to find the instructions on YouTube yourself, where someone does try to put the mirror in, and whether or not it's the correct procedure or not, who knows. They might be doing it right, they might be doing it wrong, who knows. But OSRAM have very kindly put in some very detailed instructions from start to finish on how to change your mirrors. And also, because with the Mark 6 indicator lights on the mirror, it does include part of the housing, so the last thing I want is to buy some cheap ones off eBay or Amazon, and the housing doesn't quite fit quite the same as the stock ones, so that's why I went for the slightly more expensive option with OSRAM, because I want it to fit perfectly. And one last thing before I start, with the OSRAM one as well, it has a pop-out for your mirror indicator. Well, if you're underneath your mirror you have lights as well, it has a little plastic pop-out for that fitment as well. So, which is why I want everything to be perfect. Whereas I think the other ones you find on eBay, the cheaper ones, you actually have to cut that out if you have that light on your mirror. So, I'm going to get started now. If we were to follow the instructions, we'll basically need to start off by removing the mirror cover, this housing here, then this bottom housing, which includes the old light. Okay, let's go. Once the mirror's out, people do remove these two connectors. I tend to not remove them because once cars become of age, they kind of seize up and become a bit of a nightmare to remove. And last thing you want is to pull them out and the cable comes off, but the connector stays on the mirror. So to not have any accidents happen, I tend to just work around it still being connected, because it's not like the mirror is gonna fall off whilst it's connected. So once that's off, you have two clips here. That's, I think, this one, and there's one right here, which you just need to give a little press and the mirror cover should come off. Cool. So everything's old, all the old bits are off. Just going over how I got on. So the puddle lights, this thing here came off quite easy, but you don't want to be too aggressive because it has this little arm here which you don't want to snap, because you still want it to sit into the new housing. If you don't have a puddle light, then good for you, because you don't have to worry about taking this off. And the other bits, well, this connector which goes into the mirror indicator took a little bit of figuring out how to pull it out, because I don't want to be too aggressive and break it. But what you find, let me see if I can show you here, you see those two little holes. All you need to do is just find something to poke into those holes, and then that basically releases the connector. Nice and easy when you know how. So yeah, just bear in mind, just be a bit careful. Poke something in those holes, you should hear the cable click to kind of loosen up, and then you're good to go in terms of pulling it out. Nice and easy. Cool. Now it's just putting it all back together with the new indicator. So now for the next part, which is the Dogbone mount bushing, or also known as the lower torque arm bushing. But I'll try my best to show you everything underneath the car as much as I can, but due to low visibility, might be a bit of a struggle, but I'll see what I can do. Okay, so we'll be working underneath here. So right here is your Dogbone mount. It is a two-part component, But what we're concerned about today for the bushing is this bit here, which will need a 22mm socket to remove. Then it's just simply slotting in the bushing here. Sounds simple. Let's see how I get on. If you're wondering why it looks like I've had a bit of a workout, because that's, 21mm bolt was to get out, but I have you all know, I have won. I hope this is only just the hardest part, because otherwise I've got a long day ahead of me. So next part is putting in the bushing. Be right back. Okay, so there we have it. SuperPro bushing fitted. As you can see from the footage, I got a bit creative. Firstly used the good old-fashioned bashing method to help it up. Got only so far, so then I used a second jack to really just give it a bit of a helping hand up. And then just use the washers that come with the SuperPro kit. So small one first, then this big one afterwards, and then just make sure you torque it up to 130 newton meters of torque. And as Ronald would say, job's a good one. Let's get the car down and let's give this a little test, shall we? Hello. So you are now with me in my daily morning commute to work. Welcome. Very fine grey British morning. And it's been about a week since I fitted the SuperPro Dogbone mount bushing. So, what are my thoughts? Has it made a difference? Do I like it? Do I hate it? Does it actually improve anything at all? Well, let's start off with what I dislike about it. So, starting off with, start off with what I dislike about it. So, what I noticed straight away from fitting the Dogbone mount bushing is the amount of feedback, vibration, the cabin sort of feedback you get from the car now. I guess it's because where the Dogbone mount bushing is, it's this part that basically controls the back and forth motion of the engine. And because that's more stiffer, you're getting a little bit more of that feedback in the cabin, especially within the lower rev ranges, lower gears. So for example, if I was to reverse into a parking space, or if I'm stuck in traffic, which to be fair I am doing a lot of this morning, so I'll probably be able to demonstrate that in a bit. But yeah, within those lower rev range, low gears, crawling, so basically if you're commuting on a daily basis and being in the area that you do come across a bit of traffic, then you're going to experience this a little bit more. And to be honest, within the first 48 hours I was ready to change my mind and was like, hey, I don't like this. I'm going to reverse the changes, put it back to stock and get on with my jolly life. So for example, right now, like this. Like this. So stop, start, slowly crawling, moving up from a low gear. Yes, you get a little bit more feedback in the cabin. And yes, like I said, within the first 48 hours I was done. I was like, nah, give me back my old stock bushing, this is too much. But which brings me to my next point. What I like, or what you gain from fitting the SuperPro Dogbone mount bushing is, so after getting used to having this fitted in the car, where is that noise coming from? Okay, let's continue. Which brings us to the next point, what I like about this upgrade. And one thing I can say is refinement. Front end refinement. Sounds so posh. So what I mean by that is basically, I think what I've noticed after driving it for a while and getting over the low end sort of vibration and whatnot, and getting to really enjoy the car again, is that I feel like with the front end, not that it's needed it before, well, the front end, you feel like there's a lot more stability, and like I said, not that it's needed anymore from before anyways, but since putting this in, you kind of feel like, oh, this feels a bit more improved. So things like I feel like you get more sense, more feel, feedback from the roads, in the sense of you feel more involved with the driving experience. So the way the car turns, the way the car is picking up speed. You get that kind of feedback from the car, and you feel like you're more involved with how the car is performing, more in control. So, you know, a nice typical British B road with the nice bends and turns, you feel like the car's more steady, and you feel like you're more involved with how the car is turning and more in control. That's how I can put it, I think. It's not a huge difference, but it's enough of a difference that you can feel like, oh wow, I'm enjoying driving this car even more. The other thing is how the car is building up speed. I feel like it's been as I'm building up speed, it's a much smoother transition. I think that's the best way I can describe it. Because I think whereas before, with the stop bushing, as the car is moving up speed, and changing gears, moving up the gears, you get more of that front and back engine jiggle, right? And with the bushing, that's reduced that front and back jiggle, which explains why I feel like as I'm building up speed, it's going way much smoother. So yeah, I think that covers everything that I like. Am I going to keep it? Yes. Because I feel like over time, as I'm breaking this in even further, the bushing is going to soften up. That in-cabin sort of vibration, the feedback, what I disliked about it, that's going to not be as noticeable over time. And the other thing being, I can live with it right now. I'm enjoying the car just that little bit more, and I can live with those, what I experience more on a daily basis, being stuck in traffic, moving up at lower speeds. But I think it's worth it. So, and that is it from me this week. Hope you enjoyed today's video with the mirror upgrade, the bushing upgrade. Surprised myself, to be honest, managed to do all of that in one day. The mirror upgrades wasn't too bad, to be fair. As long as you follow the instructions, that was pretty straightforward. And with the bushing, that on the other hand, bit more of a struggle. So glad I managed to do it, otherwise I kind of felt like I needed to call in some support. I do feel like I've lost a few years after fitting that upgrade, and excuse the bumps. Excuse the bumps. But yeah, if any questions, comments, make sure you drop them in the box down below. If you want to keep following the Golf R upgrades and not miss out on anything I do with the Golf R, make sure to subscribe, like, have that notification bell turned on. For now, that is it from me this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.